The Dolphins' new ownership, leadership is now in a position where they are fumigating the building. If Jason Sanders isn't already gone, he's about to be. It's 27 straight field goals, 9 for 9 from 50 plus. They couldn't agree on a contract. That was a serviceable kicker. I don't know why it is that they would get rid of him. I'm assuming he's just counting, he's asking for too much money. Alec Ingold is leaving as well. He's joining Mike McDaniel with the Chargers.
People felt that one.
I mean, he's a fan favorite. The Dolphins haven't had a lot of those over the years. Just a little guy who's overachieving out there anytime he does anything. You talk about Tua being a bust because of expectations. Alec Ingold is a fan favorite because of the lack of expectations. He was so small, but they're clearly fumigating the buildings and it's a start over project where Dolphin fans have to be wildly frustrated by the fact that 25 years into an experiment that doesn't have a playoff win, you're back at everything is starting over now. You don't have a quarterback. Geno Smith's preferred destination is Miami. He went to Miramar High School. So the reports are that this is where he wants to be. And I guess the options are, you can't get excited about Geno Smith, but the options are Malik Willis and Kyler Murray, right?
All signs are pointing Malik Willis going to Arizona, it seems.
So this means that the thing that's left is Kyler Murray. Why in God's name would he choose here? We talked last week about why he would choose the Jets when he's going to have skill position limitations. He'd have those here as well.
No, he should go to Minnesota, Kyler Murray. Very clearly.
That'd be great for him.
You got weapons there. You have a coach who has proven what he could do with a quarterback, and you have a chance to be the starter. Kyler Murray, Minnesota feels like a thing.
Let's examine this for a second because this was, amazingly enough, this was just a couple of years ago. Let's play the sound of Tua. He told us this was him just trying to cash a bet with one of his teammates where his teammate dared him to do something like this, and then he did it. This was merely 2 years ago. The money is always an interesting thing in sports because that sport is salary capped for no good reason. The players have no one to blame but themselves because they collectively bargained the salary cap, and there is no reason that other than it's been collectively bargained and owners want to fix costs because Jerry Jones can't be trusted to not spend $1 billion trying to get Patrick Mahomes, literally no matter what the cost if you don't have a salary cap. So we're always talking about the money, but the money is the biggest gulf between fans and players. It's the biggest problem, even though I can make reasonable arguments that most of the players in that sport are underpaid. A few are paid fine, but most of them are underpaid for what it is that they're doing. And salary cap restrictions make it so that we're always talking about the money. But the salary cap hit that Tua is going to be going forward is more damaging than the Deshaun Watson one is and will be over the next couple of years. And I thought the Deshaun Watson contract is the worst in the history of that sport. And yet Tua's is more damaging over the next 2 years, just financially in terms of what it's going to cost you to simply release him. I have not read, because it just happened, so I haven't read the details. I'm not a salary cap expert. Why are they releasing him this minute? Because they said last week that all options were on the table. They were saying at the scouting combine that they were still trying, that they said, they put their name on, there has been interest in Tua, but they get nothing for him now.
Yeah, you know that's not true, though. I mean, there's interest. There's no way.
Yeah, Kyler Murray, I guess, would have a bigger market, and they ended up releasing him, too. All the teams in the league know that we're not going to give you anything for these guys. We're not going to let you off the hook. You're not going to get anybody to willingly absorb this.
Did you even believe there was a report a couple days ago that there is a team out there that would be willing to trade for Tua, but you have to attach a first-round pick to it? I don't even know if I believe that.
Well, they said there's interest, and I don't think they'd say. I'm going to give the new leadership the benefit of the doubt that they're not going to just lie. They're not going to open with lying to our face when they are saying there's interest. I want to give you some numbers here, though, because I remember many, many years ago when the Marlins got Carlos Delgado, okay, in a non-salary cap sport. He got so much money, and one of the stats that was given then when he got so much money is that you cannot tie up in a non-salary cap sport and win. You cannot tie up a disproportionate percentage of your salary cap in one player in baseball and win. Here's the numbers on 15 quarterbacks who were on the books for at least $45 million a year last year. 6 of them made the playoffs. 6 of 15 made the playoffs, and none got past the divisional round. 8 finished below 500. So half of the quarterbacks, you've got to hit. You have to hit on a star if you're paying him this in a salary-capped league. Tua, Kyler Murray, and Kirk Cousins are all going to be released. Deshaun Watson obviously didn't play, but that's 15 quarterbacks, and 6 made the playoffs, none passed the divisional round, and 8 finished below 500. You can't do it that way unless it's Mahomes. And what you also can't do, and the Dolphins did this, you see what the Rams are doing again with McDuffie, with paying their corners. They're behaving as if they're play away because Stafford's old and they have to win in the Stafford window. They know they've got a quarterback. McVay's going to get exposed at least some when he doesn't have that kind of professionalism anymore at the quarterback. And it's not even his fault. Your quarterback has to be great, but he especially has to be great if you're paying him the way that the Dolphins were paying Tua.
Well, yeah, the way the league works now, clearly, if you're paying your quarterback top money, like if he's being paid in the top 7, 8, 9, 10 quarterbacks in the league, he has to be like a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback. That's the only way to win when they're making that much money. So you have 2 ways to win with your quarterbacks. Either he's a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback, or your quarterback is on the rookie contract, so he's performing so far above the value, and that's why Kyler Murray was making the money, not a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback. Kirk Cousins, Tua Tagovailoa, like those guys are getting paid the top dollar. They are not in that category. You cannot win with them.
But we have to admit that when those contracts were signed, there was plenty of scrutiny applied to it. Yeah. Everyone knew these were potential ticking time bombs, and they ended up being so. I do want to clean one thing up. You said that the Dolphins announced immediately that they're releasing him, but part of that statement was they're going to wait till the new league year starts, and there's a reason for that, because the NFL salary cap isn't real.
Yeah, that post-June 1st designation means that the $99 million in dead cap will be spread over 2 years. So it's just a tick over $67 million for this upcoming season, and then just a tick under $32 million for the following year.
And isn't the timing of it being today is because free agency starts in 3 hours from now?
Yeah, you want to do right by him and let him know what his options are, have the marketplace, have a deep understanding of what his situation is.
When Jeremy hits you with that number, though, $67 million for a quarterback to not play, pair that against what Moss just told everybody Messi's making for Inter Miami, which is between $70 and $80 million. So for that amount of money, Inter Miami gets the best soccer player there's ever been, and he actually plays, and his contract is through 2028. For the amount of money that Tua's counting against the cap here, the Dolphins get a quarterback who's not going to play today, who they release. That is an uncommon disaster. Whether it's the biggest bust in franchise history or not, I don't know. I'm willing to say that, given that he did give them 7 years of play and was their starter and did lead the league in offense one time. But as a financial move, it's unquestionably a disaster in a salary cap sport that you gave this guy all this money 2 years ago, and 2 years later, you are simply cleaning house in a way that I don't think the Dolphins have ever cleaned house. I think this is the biggest fumigation of the facility that there has ever been.
Why are they cleaning house?
Because they haven't won a playoff game in 25 years, and largely they had a general manager in charge who was allowed to stay in charge without winning a playoff game more than any general manager in the league has ever been, was allowed during that time period to stay in charge with that kind of failure.
All correct. If the quarterback worked out, would they be cleaning house today?
No.
Biggest bust in franchise history.
So what goes into that classification? Because the guys I think of are Eric Kumaro. The guys I think of are Daddy Bosa, the original Bosa who spawned pass rushers. His sperm better at rushing the passer than he was.
Good sperm.
So you got Bosa, you got Kumaro in franchise history.
Deion Jordan,
Sammy Smith. Sammy Smith.
Yatil Green, but that was injury.
But they didn't have to reset the franchise when those guys didn't work out.
John Avery. That one stung.
I still can smell the nachos on Jimmy Johnson's breath as he explained to me why it is that John Avery was the right pick over Randy Moss.
John Avery might be up there. John Avery, when you consider that Randy Moss.
First round.
Oh, yeah, but Randy Moss was on the board, and that was the debate. Avery is pretty bad.
Late first round.
But that is a funny way we do busts, though, right? It's who they could have gotten instead. Like, I remember basically all of my viewpoints on coaching smarts disintegrating with the smell on Jimmy Johnson's breath as he explained to me why John Avery was the correct pick over Randy Moss.
Was there jalapeno or just the nacho chips?
It was just the chips. You know that chip breath.
A little cilantro, little hint.
No, it was just all, it smelled all like Tostitos.
Yeah, but I do think like who's on the board does play a large factor. Ted Ginn might have been considered that, but then Brady Quinn ended up being bad.
Two coaches and a general manager deserved, but two coaches and a general manager were fired because Tua didn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that Brian Flores merited being fired on record.
Well, not on, and you know what? I'll take that one back because he wasn't really fired because Tua wasn't good. He was fired for a handful.
Yeah, but he was also fired. He was also fired because he didn't believe in Tua.
Right.
And the way that he went about it.
Right. Yeah, I take that back.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how the league goes, though. Yeah, you build around the quarterback. If the quarterback doesn't work out, you usually go down with that quarterback.
You cannot waste money in a salary cap sport in one player who doesn't work out, who you wake up on Monday morning and you've just released to play for someone else. You realize the Dolphins, he's going to be able to salvage his career by playing for a small amount of money wherever he goes. He's going to go to a place where he's going to be either the best backup in the league or somebody who's able to rejuvenate his career because he's gone someplace to get back to big money making as they pay him the minimum and the Dolphins end up paying the entirety of a giant salary.
There is an option three. Option three is he continues this downward trajectory and he's out of the league in a couple of years.
The most likely option.
He's not that skilled anymore, and it could be a byproduct of the head injuries.
Oh, but he's a low-level starter right now, and you saw last year, the second half of the season, how many bad quarterbacks were playing because every year in that league, you have, by the end of the season, an assortment of Kenny Pickett's playing because they're low-level starters and you just need competence.
Oh, he's certainly going to get another shot around the league in a situation that'll give him a pathway to playing, unless he goes to a team that is fully solidified at the position and it's just like, give me a get-right year where I can learn at this staff. Like maybe let me go to L.A. so I can refurbish my career the way that Baker Mayfield did under this coaching staff. I just became Pat McAfee there for his coaching staff.
Zaslow, you were eager to get in here because you've got a lot of Tua opinions.
Yeah, I still feel like every time that you bring up the things that have gone wrong with Tua, and specifically how much you count against the salary cap, in a salary cap sport, you can't, be making that much money and have it not work out. But you're giving more evidence to me saying this is the biggest bust in franchise history. I understand guys like Deion Jordan amounted to literally nothing with the team, but you didn't have to reset the franchise. You didn't have to pay him when guys like that didn't work out. With Tua, they gave him a record contract, the most money the team's ever given in franchise history, and 2 years later, they're paying him to not be on their team anymore.